Bearded Bros Golf Show. We're back again for another week. It is the end of the PGA Tour season. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
So, just let me get this out of the way off top. Last week, we did a kind of a rant on a DJ Khaled, what we may have thought was a quote. I'll take responsibility for that. The way that it was wrapped up in a Twitter package made it look a certain way after doing due diligence, being called out by a user, which is totally fine. We are not above being adults and correcting our mistakes. Things that we attributed to DJ Khaled in last week's live may or may not have been quotes or were not quotes of his. Do I still think DJ Khaled's problematic overall? Yes. Well, I'll probably do a deeper dive because I still found things very troubling. Reading the article and feature from ESPN, yes. But what we discussed last week and quotes around some kind of things that tended to be a little bit racist were a bit off base, and we apologize. That is our bad. We will correct our mistakes when we make them. We are human. Moving on. So this week was the end of the PGA Tour season at the Wyndham. A lot of FedEx kind of hopefuls right on the cut line with things moving from the top 125 in previous years to the top 70 this year. So it was a little bit tighter. Today's winner, as of a few minutes ago, Lucas Glover, was really featured on an article in Golf Channel stating that he hated the format, kind of just didn't want to look at the leaderboard and just wanted to go out there and play golf. And play golf, he did. He's been really hot with the putter. We mentioned him last week, really hanging around the leaderboards on some of the off weeks, but this week pulling it out with a lot at stake. What do you think about the Lucas Glover win and this putter change to the we're not going to say he's anchored. I do truly think that he is not pressing that putter against his chest. But what do you think about his play as of late?
Yeah, trending the right way. Probably still like on the downside of his career though. So I don't know if Zach Johnson will go out on a limb and kind of use him as a captain's pick or whatever for like the Ryder Cup as a veteran or something like that. But it would be a good story. I mean, it would be like kind of like a storybook finish for his year or whatever, since he did all this work and got back to actually calling his putter a weapon and stuff like that. So I could see it. I could see that possibly being a story, but just good to see the good guys win again. And he's been through a lot. Been with the Yips. I mean, I feel like he's been a journeyman the whole time, but never gave up. So just one of those guys that you find yourself just casually cheering for. I mean, one every now and again he's gonna have to step up and play good on a big event, and that's what he did today. So
Yeah.
good on
Yeah.
him, and waited out the delay, and still made it happen. So good on him.
Yeah. I kind of felt like it was getting ugly between he and Russell Henley. Just who was going to fail the least at the end,
Right,
but he was playing some solid golf on those
they were
final
trying to
holes.
go outside.
I know it was just like kind of like hoo-ha, but he ended up parring the last emotional moment on the green with his kiddos, wife on the FaceTime. So that's always sweet to see that, and you can just tell, it means a lot to these guys to be able to pull this out. And despite him maybe not loving the format, you can just tell it makes a huge difference. No one's going to hate on him being able to put a few more dollars into his pocket next week as he moves on to the playoffs. And shout out to him. And I think that it's so interesting to see these guys who are traditional ball strikers struggle with their putting and then figure it out, or it's just like you realize like he is a ball striker's ball striker. Like he's your
Right,
favorite ball striker's ball striker. Just it sounds different, that thud when he hits the ball, those huge mitts, as
absolutely.
I've said before, just crazy, no glove, just kind of beating that ball, and then now he's able to capitalize off of hitting it close and making some putts. So, when the putter's on fire, it's hard to slow down a lot of these guys. So kudos to him.
Yep.
Like you said, he could be outside captain's pick for the Ryder Cup, which would be an awesome story. It's not like he has to go out there and play 4 rounds, but throw him in there a couple of
True.
the singles matches, and it'd be a great story. So yeah, shout out to him. In the FedEx, we saw, as you mentioned, I totally forgot about Adam Scott missing the playoffs, but Justin Thomas, one spot, it looks like outside of the playoffs, not able to pull it off. He played some desperate golf over the weekend. He hasn't been playing well, missed 3 of the 4 major cuts this year, and then I think was tied for 65th in his other major. I forget that number exactly, but it wasn't a great finish. Um, had a chance coming down, even on 18, jarred it off the flag, and had he knocked that in, would have been inside that line more than likely. But unfortunate to see his game, just kind of askew right now. Went back to
Yeah.
the normal putter, only had the counterbalance putter for a week before ditching that for this week. So you can just tell he's grasping at some straws. I don't know, man. It's going to be a long off season. How do in the, I guess, pantheon of players right now, where do you rank JT? And if you could go top 10, top 20, top 25, top 50, where is his game as it relates to a lot of these other stars out here now, in your mind?
I mean, it's just, unfortunately, right now he's still like, to me, he's still like a top 20 player. It's just off the top of my head, yeah, he's a top 20 player. And
Yep.
I don't know. I thought he tried to clutch up. He was halfway there. I don't even think he made a bad effort. But it started with Friday. Because Thursday was a wash. If he would have had a better day Thursday instead of just shooting like even par or whatnot, I think he would have been okay. He shot 65 on Friday, and then Saturday made a push, and then went right back to just going like ho hum right around par again. So you know I don't know with JT right now, but maybe Zach Johnson sees something in him as far as emotional leader, as far as like a jump charge or something. I don't know. But
I don't know.
I
It's
know
getting desperate.
I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying JT is banking on being in the Ryder Cup, but I know he still wants to be there at some capacity, even if
Yeah.
But that's the thing though. Even if you just get JT on the team to be with the homies, have him play his singles match, and have him just contribute in one of the team matches, I think that'd be good enough. I don't think you put the team on JT's back like you could have in years past before. He's not at
No.
that level, or he's not in that kind of form. But that's why we have other good players. That's why we have a team, so that we can just not have to do that. We don't have to have one superstar like a Rory, in 2010 and shit like that, where bro just clearly was the best player on the team, on either team type stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah,
No,
yeah,
and I think Scotty Scheffler officially locked down his spot this week, and we'll see more as the weeks move on. But I don't
yeah.
know, kind of like you can name. I think start of the year before we got into the heavy part of the season. I think JT would have been easily in the top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think that's the case anymore, and that's given that he's I think still under 30, right? I mean, he's not, or maybe.
Like
Yeah,
right
he's still
around
under
30.
30. Yeah, he's pushing it, right? 28, 29. But you can easily name 10 guys that are better than him. And I'd even kind of dare to throw in a couple of live guys. The way Taylor Gooch has been playing, DJ's been playing pretty well. Um,
Yeah.
let's just say out of Americans, right? Scotty
Yeah.
Scheffler, Ricky Fowler is resurgent. Wyndham Clark is playing kind of crazy good, consistent golf these days. The
Yeah.
list
Still
is
playing
starting to
good.
get really long. The list is starting to get really long of American golfers. And so JT's really got to figure it out before, we talk about Rory and his window, but, tinkering and always trying to fix things is not the way to go, and be able to play consistent golf. As we touched on previously, maybe sometimes you just stick with the game that you have and make some small tweaks within that, without outside of kind of totally overhauling your game and starting over
Right.
from scratch. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It's just sad to see him struggle the way that he has, and trying to. It feels like he's trying really hard to play good golf versus that previous swagger that we knew from JT.
Yeah.
So again, shortened playoff format. Well, we used to have 3 events leading up to the Tour Championship in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And typically
125,
dudes
70, 50, then the championship.
Yep, and then typically dudes were skipping one of those events just because playing a month straight, and then with the wraparound and all those other things. So, what do you think about the new format and it tightening up, and just coming to a kind of a quicker end to the season? Seems like everything's
Yeah.
a bit rushed here. How do you feel about it?
I feel like the numbers should have been different. I don't mind it being 2 playoff events and then the finals. It just should have been more like a 100 and then a 70 or a 65 and then the 30. Because I mean it's a championship anyways. You don't mind like a kind of dramatic drop off from the second week to the finals. It doesn't have to be
Right.
like something crazy where it's like, oh, we're going from, I mean, I feel like it shouldn't be something like it's, oh man, 50 to 30, like, okay, like 20 people that's getting dropped, like, that's fine. Like, but like going from 125 to 70, that's a super dramatic drop. Like, I mean, it's pretty much like what was happening this week with a lot of players, knowing that they had to win or top 2 or top 3 to get into that top 70 or whatever. Kind of like JT, kind of like Adam Scott. Adam Scott was, up there in the leaderboards and then, kind of fell off in the second, the weekend and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad of a format. I just wish the numbers would have been different, but
Yeah.
they think they
100
got a
seems right
formula
to
now.
me. Yeah,
Yeah,
100 seems like the right number to me as well. And then I agree, kind of go to 50, and then kind of the 30 for the last event. So, yeah,
yeah,
I'm kind of on the same plane. And I mean, honestly, for guys who haven't won an event in the last 2 years, that also means, certain needing to get certain exemptions or losing the card and having to fight for their card. I think when you're affecting
yeah,
people in that way, I kind of don't love that. 125 is hard enough, right? You're having to
yeah,
have the 125th best season on the PGA Tour or better, or you're fighting for your card. You're having to play some Corn Ferry events to get some status. I
yeah,
don't think these guys are having to drop down and play Q School again or anything crazy like that. But I mean, this is how you make your living, and I think it's tight. So I'm not a
yeah,
super fan of it, but I do like. I mean, I like the playoff events. It puts the pressure on guys to play well. I do like seeing kind of how they put the emphasis on, the every every hole when they finish, they could swing 10 spots one way, 20 back the other way. I like that drama because it makes
yeah,
it apparent how much each shot matters, and going low and putting a score on the board. I like that aspect of it, and kind of seeing that
yeah,
red or green FedEx Cup on their scorecard. So I'm excited to see the next few weeks, and then we roll into the Ryder Cup. As you mentioned, no DP event this week, and they'll get hot and heavy the last part of the season as well, playing quite a few events to also get ready for the Ryder Cup. So I'm very interested. A bunch of new talent coming up on either side of the world. So I think it'll be a competitive. We're still TBD on whether the live guys will be included. Um, I still think that's still up in the air. But you see people
yeah,
lobbying. You see DeChambeau out here lobbying. You see people lobbying for Dustin Johnson. So who the hell knows where we go with that, creating more drama. But
yeah,
either way, I think there's a ton of talent available regardless of that. So we shall see how things shake out there. Um, in the women's game, LPGA, I'm going to go ahead and shout out the PXG troops, PXG gang gang. Celine Boutier
Keep it.
winning two. Celine Boutier winning 2 weeks in a row. Winning the Scottish Open this week, the Evian last week, her first major. So shout out to her balling out on these gals. Winning by
Yeah.
2 strokes today, took a commanding lead of 3 strokes after round three. Just a solid game. She's not some crazy long hitter, just really accurate and, tee to green. It's very solid. I just enjoy watching her play. She's not, very boastful and out there. She's just humble and has really nice game to back it up. So second week in a row. What do you think about her and kind of not taking over the women's game, but really putting herself as a winner and cementing herself as a winner? She's been up there and had the name recognition, but hasn't necessarily been a big winner. So now winning 2 weeks away going into the women's open next week.
Yeah, I mean, kind of always knew the name. I mean, she was good at Duke and everything like that, and NCAA championships when they first started really televising, college golf and things like that. But good to see her stick through it and everything with all the, close calls and finally getting it through. And then, she's just
Mhm.
building momentum and rolling with it because, I mean, you go back to back on the LPGA, that's a feat in itself. I mean, I feel like that is freaking probably on. I mean, it's clearly as difficult as it to do it as they would on the PGA because the
Yeah,
ladies definitely are always competing. They're always going low. I mean, I feel like they're I don't know. Most of their events are 54 holes. So, they a lot of those are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's always a sprint. So I feel like they're very comfortable going low. So I definitely think with them, starting to get all these 4 day events, it's just gonna look very good on them and on the
yeah,
tour. And then of course, the cream's gonna rise to the crop or to the top, I'm sorry. And you're seeing it right now with Boutier. And you just gotta hope
yeah,
that she has enough energy to make it last. I mean, she's still probably, mid-20s, so she's got the energy. It's just can she withstand another push and, fight
yeah,
some more UK wins and hopefully there's not bad weather and stuff like that. So yeah.
yeah. I think we've talked about parity and consistency in winners this year. Like it's all over the board.
Yeah.
So many first time winners. So to see somebody able to, you know, go back to back on totally different formats and styles of golf, I think is pretty awesome. If she's able to just, capture a top five, top 10 next week, I think she'll really continue to solidify her name in the women's game and really just
Yeah.
garner the attention that her game does deserve, and I hope that she does get that for herself. It's very interesting that I saw an advertisement for it when I was kind of looking at some articles, and Nelly Corda was who they were advertising. Who we love, we enjoy her game. She's got a sweet swing,
Love her.
but it's like it's very interesting how certain organizations who they choose to market and make as the face. So again, I'm just interested to see some ladies rise to the top and consistently win. We saw some really talented golfers: Allison Corpus, Lilia Vu, Patty T is always near the top
Yeah.
of a leaderboard. So it's just good to see again a consistent winner. So kudos to her, and hopefully continues that and continues to rep for PXG. Proving the haters wrong about the quality of their clubs. So there you go. Um, Bryson DeChambeau, guy we kind of love to hate. Maybe we're some haters. Maybe I need to go to therapy and admit that I'm a hater. But so he won today on the Live Tour, his first Live win at the old Greenbrier site, which the PGA no longer plays. They got washed out from some floods years ago. Rebuilt the course. Again, I did not watch it. Just seeing, the highlights from, they're getting featured in Burn on ESPN now, and even Golf
Yeah.
Channel starts to mention it, the highlights at least. Um, but he shot a 58 today. So par 70, great round. No hate there at all. We're never going to
Yeah.
shoot a 58. Incredibly hard feat to do. It's only been done once on the PGA Tour, Jim Furyk, a handful of years ago, and a handful of times outside of that as well. But the part that's controversial, at least to me, is that, and then he kind of parses it a little bit. He says, this is probably the greatest accomplishment of my career. And he was talking about the 58, which a single round 58, awesome, right? It's something that you'll never forget. The shots will be
Yeah.
memorable, but the greatest you've won the US Open. Is it really the greatest accomplishment of your career? I think that's really pushing it. I hope I watched a couple of different places where he talked about it, and he was not referring to the win at all. That was awesome as well, I'm sure, but he was really referring to that 58. Talked about going low, and what he did to practice for that as a kid by playing forward tees, making it more accessible, and it just kind of got him in the mindset. What do you think about this man? I know, again, we are not fans of Bryson DeChambeau, but what do you think about him calling this the greatest accomplishment? And yeah, tell me what you think.
I mean, I just think it's DeChambeau being DeChambeau. He just always had like kind of like a skewed message. He just never really could like you never really can understand really well. Honestly, I don't want to understand where he's coming from. I don't ever want to be in a place like that. So
Yeah,
he can keep his perspective. But I mean, you know, I'm not saying it should be if I came out so like when I first shot in the 60s, when I shot under the par, it was definitely a highlight at the moment. But there's definitely greater things to strive for and things to do that it's like, oh man, that accolade marks a little bit better. That accolade marks a little bit better. But when you're on a adventure like a I don't even know what to call this tour he's on. If it's like it's just you don't have a lot of history in your league as it is. So
yeah,
it's not like this is historical in that manner. I just don't
right.
know why this would be like on your rungs besides you like the way he talked it up, it's just DeChambeau just has a weird way of saying things. I feel like a
Super weird.
58 is a 50 truly. I feel like a 58 is still a 58 and there's a lot to be said about that. But for you to trump over a US Open win, for you to not even acknowledge the win really kind of weird in my opinion. Just kind of weird.
Yeah, it's weird. He's an offbeat dude. I don't know. It's mind boggling. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
his reality is very different than most people's. Another thing that frustrated me, and maybe I shouldn't even say frustrated, it makes me raise an eyebrow, is John Rahm tweeted about it as well. And I'm going to paraphrase it, but he said, what, no matter where you're playing or what tour, he just said where you're playing. Assuming like, hey, he knows this is a live tour, it's not equivalent.
Yeah.
Shooting a 58 is a heck of a round. Kudos to you, Bryson DeChambeau, which it is. It's a heck of a round,
Right.
but it's just like John Rahm, man. I, I'm still maintaining that he was the reason that any semblance of a Saudi public investment fund and PGA Tour deal even came to pass. I feel like he was ready to jump ship, and he said some things questionably over the years with this live and his relationship with Phil through Callaway, through Arizona State. He's like, that's my boy. That's going to continue to be my boy. And I get it, right? None of them are saying this is a personal thing, but it's like, hey, you've made your choice. But John Rahm's comments surrounding Liv just continue to be questionable, man. I don't know. It's
He's
he's always
Spaniard, bro.
parsing.
He's Spaniard. He's trying to make a scene. That's what they do. Whatever he's got to say. Again, you are at a point right now, John Rahm, where you can say things and it's all gonna be fine. But like at the end of the day, John Rahm, you don't speak for everybody. You speak for you, and you can
Yeah.
keep saying these whatever. But lame. Anyways, I don't have a lot to I don't have a lot of good things to say
I
about
know.
John Hart.
I know
His
I can
game is
tell you're
lame.
frustrated.
Yeah, maybe if you start competing again, getting back playing golf again, maybe you'd have something to
Right.
say that was actually constructive. But just keep doing whatever you're doing in the dark and stay out there, whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
feel
know what
like
to
it's
say
been at
about
least we hadn't seen John Rahm since the Open, right? So
it. I haven't seen it. Yeah, a month, early, easily, and even then
yeah,
he was still bitching. Like, oh,
yeah.
anyways,
Flair,
yeah,
flair,
I'm struggling for
a
words
flair,
positively.
a flair for the dramatics. It's something about those Spanish folks, whether going all the way back to Sevi, they love some dramatic presentations and kind of staying in the mix. We talked about Carlotta Saganda last week and kind of really making an ass of herself. So maybe,
Right.
yeah, maybe it's a cultural thing. Um, we'll see. Um, Playoffs or not playoffs? Sorry, 2024 season starting to take
Yeah.
shape. Um, we're keeping the designated events. I'm sure that
Yep.
Saudi money is playing a huge effect on that. The Memorial tournament's getting moved around a little bit. What do you think about keeping? I think they've tried to saddle the schedule a little bit better. They were struggling with some events like the Honda Classic being in between two designated events, which meant folks were just going to sit it out. So they've made
Yeah.
some reconfiguration of the schedule to make some tournaments not just take the hit in that same fashion as they did last year or this year that we're finishing up. What do you think about the
Yeah.
continued designated events? Do you like it? Does it? To me, it felt like it kept the season booming and exciting.
Yeah.
Names were showing up consistently. Um, Hell, as many people as showed up to the Wyndham this week, I had to double check to make sure it wasn't on the list of designated
Right.
events. But I get it; people were shuffling for points. How about it? Designated events, y'all, you down for it? You like it? You like the schedule
Yeah.
adjustments?
It's fine. I mean, to me, I mean, like I said, it's the WGCs. That's all it is to me. Now, with you merging three tours together, you gonna have to probably do more than. I mean, you gonna have to have like 12 events, which is fine. And then on top of that, it's okay because you're still gonna have some of those be cut line events, which is fine, which I like. Some of them are still. I mean, everybody's going to be competing, and then it's a
Yeah,
heightened event, so top 50 and ties are going to make crazy money. That's fine to me. I like that. I don't. I just think that again. I think I said this early on with like events like the Pebble Beach Pro Am. Now it's an elevated event because they're
we talked
trying to
about
get
it.
eyes back on this stuff. Because what are you going to do? Nobody wants to play in February, even if it is Pebble Beach. That's too early for them in their season. They're trying to get warmed up or they're trying to prepare for the warmer season. So you need to try to find ways early on in the season to get these guys in there, get these names in
Yeah.
there.
The weather is
Then you
not
go
even
from
great
there.
out in California. That it's
It's
like
still
like last year.
cold.
Yeah, last year they had a Monday finish. I don't
Right.
know, man. I don't know about that one, and that one's also going to be a no cut event. So there's four of those events, and don't hold. I'm not saying any. I remember that one being a no cut event, and I was thinking with
Yeah.
the celebrity aspect. I don't know. I've kind of fallen out of love with the whole pro am aspect of it. Um, I feel like they've got too many of those events. Maybe I'm overblowing it, but like I don't love the Reno Tahoe Open. Like that one was, it's just getting kind of eh. Um, the Pebble Beach Pro Am. You're used to the Bill Murray being a complete fool out there, and kind of the same
Yeah.
names popping up, and it just not being something that you're just like, oh, I got to go watch that. So we'll see how
Yeah.
that impacts that tournament. I mean, again, we saw this year and we discussed it pretty heavily at the time that the attendance of that event was poor. It wasn't many names that we knew. It was a bunch of young guns trying to get some starts
Yeah.
out on the PGA Tour as they got their their cards. Justin Rose ended up winning his first tournament in quite some time out there. It just wasn't a star-studded PGA Tour, event as we were expecting. So I like the
Yeah.
concept. I'm glad they figured out a way to continue it. I know the money was getting super tight, but with their involvement with the Saudis, that there's more money going into it, and I think that's good. Live will definitely be separate for the 2024 season. They're going to start talking about, the reapplication and being able to get back on the PGA Tour. You have several people, namely Phil Mickelson and a handful of others, saying, why would we want to go play on the PGA Tour again? That's lame. He is continuing the all out war against the PGA Tour. I don't know, man. Dude's super angry, and I know his name has been dragged through the mud, and I feel like, he made himself a martyr. He put himself squarely in the crosshairs for this whole discussion, and he's
Yeah.
continuing to double down and be a villain to this day. So I know you call him inside trader. Phil's not exactly the most moral human being in the world. Not that that's everything, but I don't know. He's got a lot of warts for him to continue to still be talking crap to this day.
Yeah. I mean, it's just at this point in my life, like, bro, like people who want to talk like that, bro, I just don't even need to hear what you have to say, bro. Like, I'm not gonna search out what insider trader is saying. I don't even want to have. I don't want to hear what he has to say, to be honest, because I mean, all he's trying to do is make headlines with the inflammatory sayings. Like, you don't even have like there's times when like you can say inflammatory things and it actually have pedigree to it, to where it's like, oh, you said fireworks and now everything makes sense why we're getting a show. Some people do fireworks and then the fireworks show is a dud because you don't have anything behind the show. Phil
Yeah,
doesn't have anything behind the show. He's not saying anything that we haven't already heard, seen, or already been done. He's just saying shit
valid.
to get people riled up. I just don't even understand why we entertain shit like this. Like, this is my same, and because we're basketball guys, you understand what I mean when I say everybody's basketball opinion isn't valid. I don't want to have to hear what you have to say, JaVale McGee. Okay, all right, cool story. Same thing with
Yeah,
Phil, bro. You've done what you've done in the history of the game. Cool. You've made your staple in the game. Now you just
you,
shaded
you
man. You
got
wear a button down.
you
Whatever
got
you want to
you
try to
got
do.
paid. You were able to pay off your debts, hopefully.
Right. All
I
that
get it.
gambling shit, it's fine. Okay, cool. Congrats, bro. You gonna make hella money. You in your 50s. Go right off into the sunset. Whatever you want to do, bro. Nobody cares, man. If you want to play your 8 events, go ahead on over there to fucking Pakistan or wherever y'all playing. I don't know. I don't care. Do what you got to do, Phil. Congrats to you, bro. Like, just like you
I
do.
know.
Thumbs up, buddy. Congrats, bro.
Right. Good
Anyways.
good God, Phil. I don't know. Just an angry man. Just let it go. Get you like I said, get you some therapy. Let go of whatever baggage that you have. You'd be welcome back with open arms. You got paid. Nobody's gonna take the money away from you.
These
You
people
probably
still
have
love you.
yeah, you probably
Still
have
live there,
status. And
yeah.
he could play a light schedule on the PGA Tour. I mean, honestly, this was the first week that I've seen in the clips that I saw where the course looked up to par with kind of high end standards. They've been playing some Goat Ranch courses, and this was one of the ones that really looked amazing on TV and really top tier.
Because it was
So
a former
again,
PGA event.
this is true. I mean, and
They
they've been
already
trying
know
to
how to
follow
run
some.
event.
Yeah, they know how to get the course ready to go. Um, so whatever. Just
Yeah, they
Phil
not
came
they
up.
not going out to like an event that's barely above Stevens Park or some shit like that, right? They finally know they finally had a course.
They
Oh,
found the
Lord.
course. Um, in terms of like things that we had on the list to talk about, this is it's a random thing. Did you watch any of the FIFA? Did you watch the U.S. ladies early this morning lose?
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch them lose. I mean, I don't know. The time was really funny. I didn't feel like being up late. I'm trying to be better about it. I'm not trying to be as much of a night owl, Rod. So I didn't really get to
I
see. I saw the
I
group stage and stuff
accidentally
like that.
I accidentally woke up and caught the second half, and then of course the extra
Sad.
play and the disappointing uh, penalty kicks, and I was after the first three, I was like, "We got this." And then I'm gonna screw her name up. I screwed it up the last time. Who's the veteran with the dyed hair that's retiring? Is it Rapino?
Oh, Megan Rapinoe. Yeah, Megan
I
Rapinoe.
said it right. Thank God. So she missed hers. The other young lady right after her, I think her last name is Smith, flew it. And then in the extra penalty kicks, the goalie got hers, and then another young lady put hers up against the post. It was so
Yeah,
disappointing to see the ladies, with all the hype surrounding them being ranked number one in the world, cheering. Um, the Swedish team solid. Like on defense, I was just it's very interesting to watch the different styles come across. So like watching kind of early in the evening yesterday, South Africa play against the Netherlands.
hmm
Netherlands was playing a very up in your face style of defense versus South Africa. They were playing like a soft zone, which was
yeah,
pretty comparable to what the U.S. was playing. They kind of laid back.
yeah,
They played a lot of offense, and they would once they turned them over, they were putting a lot of pressure on the Swedes today. But just something about the way this, if the ball was in a U.S. player's foot, the Swedish player was on them every single
yeah.
time, and the goalie was pretty awesome. But it was just sad to see the ladies bow out early. I don't know. Just I love me some alternate sports, but yeah. um, let's see here. Got a comment from Perry. Phil, no, he wouldn't be welcome back. The young guys on the PGA Tour are Tiger disciples, and if he doesn't approve it, he won't be back. Love the show, guys. Thanks, Perry. Appreciate that. I agree, man. I don't know. Like, I feel like Phil could, um, if he shut up, he could be welcome back. But that's
Yeah,
not Phil, right? I
yeah.
agree
I
with that.
think I agree. I think the younger guys see the show, and they don't want the show. But
Right.
Phil still, unfortunately, has a market. There is still a group of loyalists to this guy. That's lefty for them. That's
Yeah.
everything that's the opposite of Tiger. So again, I don't want to go down that route, but there are definitely a market for Phil in that aspect. So I agree, Perry. I hope he's not welcome back, but
I don't know. The next couple of years are going to be beyond interesting as this thing shapes
yeah,
up.
agree.
It's just we have no idea where it's going to go. We just really don't. Um, we're still talking framework of this deal. We don't know how much
True.
money is going to be dumped into the PGA Tour. We don't know if Live is going to be just completely dissolved. And they're going to be like No Country for Old Men. So what is Phil going to do if Live doesn't exist? Because at this stage, Greg Norman has no voice. He had no voice
Right.
in the room when all this was being negotiated. So all the stuff that came out immediately after the announcement in terms of the dissolution of, or not dissolution, but Live being its own standalone thing, I'm sorry. There's not enough money in the till coming in to Live for the Saudis to keep paying for it. I don't care if the Saudis have stupid long term money and whether it was for sports washing or whether this was to actually have a league. If you're putting money into something, no matter how much you have, you want to see a return at some point. Live is not
Right.
going to
Right.
have a return. I think this is a great example of why. This week or last week, I saw a story about the sponsorship of the team that Brooks Koepka is the captain of, right? So he's a Nike athlete. He has Matt Wolf, who's also a Nike athlete. And, you know, they were there was rumors that they were going to get a Nike deal mixed in there somewhere. Guess who they got sponsored by? Some small company in, um, South Carolina. And in the feature post, the only two guys that were mentioned were, God, they're slipping my brain, but it wasn't Matt Wolf or Brooks Koepka. So that Nike deal that they were kind of pushing for ain't happening.
Mm,
So with no name golf companies sponsoring live teams, where is the money coming from, bro? I'm telling you, I don't like to predict things. Live is done in 2024. After that season's up, that league is going away. There is no, unless some miracle of God happens, live is going away. And we will have to see what these players who have dedicated their lives to it, where they end up. Do they retire?
yeah,
Do we just see Phil hang it up, or does he come back to the tour amongst other people who have said that they, enjoy playing over on Live? Who the hell knows? I really do not know, but I'm so interested to see it. It's more attention on golf than we've ever seen, and I love it.
yeah,
Except for some of the people that have entered into the golf space, trying to capitalize. Anything that attention gets put on, grifters come around. So
right.
um, it feels like that when you get on Instagram. There's so many grifters out there trying to make $1 off of golf. Got one more comment from Perry here. Why would any big company sponsor a CW league? I'd much rather watch Justin Rose win at Pebble Beach and watch a live tournament. You're right,
I
Perry.
said that.
I tried to give it a shot, and I couldn't do it.
I
One,
said that, bro. I'm not watching. It's not a sports network. You're not getting sports journalism with it. It's it's live event, One Tree Hill reruns, and then what's after that? You're not
right.
replaying the live event because nobody really wanted to
They're
watch
not
it. That watches CW. Well, again, I agree. I agree, Perry. I
100%.
never was for
100%.
CW. My TV
It
does
does
not
not
go to
make
CW,
sense.
by the way. I don't know what that
It does
is.
not go. You can't find it.
Xfinity, please tell me what channel CW is, brother. I don't
And I
know
told you,
what channel.
with us cord cutting, YouTube TV wasn't even offering CW at first. I literally had to download the app to go catch some coverage just to say that I was going to do it. Um, I don't know. If it comes back around, I'll probably plan my schedule better. I had planned to go see the Tulsa, Oklahoma event this year, but we had too much going on.
Yeah,
Ended up going to the Byron Nelson instead. So I'm gonna, like I said, we'll see. It'll be a relic, and we'll be talking about this 3-year league for a long time. But that's all they're getting. That's really it.
right. I mean,
Any
and
other?
again,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, yeah, just in conclusion, like, and again, like, it might sound like we're just some big haters to live, but like, it's the product of live. It's not successful. That's what the thing is. So it's like, why do we keep dragging it on? Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
It doesn't.
So,
And if you think we're haters, go back and watch. I've published quite a few videos on
right, we've
Live
done
since its
unbiased stuff
inception.
about this a lot.
We're just
We've
talking
tried to give
about
it an
facts here.
opportunity.
We did. We're just talking about facts, business, and money. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter why the Saudis started the league. We are where we are at. The proof of concept is not there for Live. That's all we've talked about. That's it. You've
Exactly.
not heard us
The
talk about the
format isn't
morality.
successful.
We've not heard us talk about 9/11 or any of the blood money type of arguments. Strictly
Right.
business, strictly feasibility. CW and small golf brands out of South Carolina, are not getting it done. That does not pay the bills. That does not pay people $200 million contracts. Sorry.
Agreed. Agreed.
All right, my guy. You got any other topics that we haven't covered today that you want to hit on before we sign off for the weekend?
Um, I actually was so immersed in golf all summer, I didn't even realize that we had football coming back. But welcome back, NFL preseason is here. I didn't even realize it until the Hall of Fame game. But we are here now. Welcome.
We are
Yes.
already here. Yeah, you know what? That's the fun thing about playing golf. And as much as we have gotten into golf, I used to hate when football season and basketball season was over, because it was like, damn, what are we going to do all summer? You'd hope for the Olympics or something to
Yeah,
fill the void, World Cup. But now golf fills my. I don't know, like I don't have any gaps in the year. Golf
definitely.
is king. So yeah,
For sure.
it's fun to just have football pop up on you because you forgot about it. So good call
It's
out
a
there.
pleasant surprise. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, y'all. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking first round of the first leg of the PGA Tour playoffs. The women's Open will be occurring next week as well. So a lot of good golf still happening over the next few months. So we're back every Sunday. Catch us live. Peace. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Bearder Bros Golf Show. We're out.